Ramily, welcome into a brand new episode of the Rams Report presented by Prize Picks. Today, guys, we are hitting the rumor mill because there has been a new one going around. And some Rams players even stoking the flames on this one. And the Rams are being connected to a major free agent that's still on the market. We're going to break down these rumors, how they kind of got going, and whether or not I think the Rams should go after this guy. But before we get into all that, I got to hear from the Ramily, guys. If you consider yourself a member of the Ramily, if you are already subscribed on the channel, or if you're a big Rams fan and you want to join our Ramily here on the channel, you could change that today by subscribing. Drop a like on today's video. It's a Ramily roll call. I need to hear from all of the real ones. I need to see at least 300 likes on this video because I know that 300 Ramily real ones will be watching. So let's roll into this one while you guys like it up. Jaylen Watson is the Rams player stoking these rumors, kind of getting things going once again. Our new addition in free agency from the Kansas City Chiefs tweeted at Snead, "What's up, brother?" with eye emojis, hinting at a little bit of a reunion, wanting to bring him back. And this is not the first time that he has done this. This is not the first time at all. He posted on his Instagram story a little bit of a smug face emoji with a photo of him, McDuffie, Sneed, and Josh Williams, who signed elsewhere, all together celebrating their Super Bowl win a couple of years ago. And hey, I don't think you have to be a what even the word psychologist to figure out what does that smug face emoji mean? What's the what's up tweet mean? He wants him in Los Angeles with Trent as well. He wants to reunite the trio that brought so much success in Kansas City. And Snead responded this time, guys. He tweeted out this photo. It's a law office advertisement, and it says, "One call, that's all." I think the message is pretty clear from these two guys. They want to see it happen. Snead's saying, "Make the call, and I am in Los Angeles." So now it's on the other Snead. It's on Les at this point. Should the Rams go after Snead? Guys, we are going to break this down in depth on today's show. We're going to talk about whether or not this team should go after him in just 1 minute. But before we do, I got to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's video, and that is Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app. Guys, if you love daily fantasy or you just want to make watching sports even more exciting than it already is, you've got to try out Prize Picks. And it's a great time to get started on Prize Picks, too, with the NBA playoffs underway and the baseball season in full swing as well. There's just no better place to cash in on all that action than with our friends at Prize Picks. And it's super easy to get going if you've never played before. You just have to pick 2 to 6 players. You're selecting more or less on their stat projections, whether you're picking from points, hits, home runs, strikeouts, three-pointers. They've got everything across all sports. And they've also got awesome social features. If you don't know exactly what you want to go for today, you can easily tail or fade your friends or your favorite creators by dropping a follow. I'm Jackson Durham with no spaces. My producer, Mike, is Mike Jaraputo with no spaces. If you want to add some friends to your social feed, you can follow us, and you can see our lineups that we've been placing, including this one for the playoff basketball action. We're going with the moron Tyrese Maxey, the moron Jaden McDaniels, and the moron Victor Wembanyama. So you guys can tail, you can fade, whatever you do, just do it with our friends at Prize Picks. And if you're a brand new user, download the Prize Picks app today and use code HMA when you play your first $5 lineup to receive $50 in lineups. That's code HMA when you play your first $5 lineup to get an extra $50 in lineups. Clickable link to download the app is in the comments and the description. As always, thank you to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's video. Let's get back into our discussion of Snead. Because before we dive on the player himself, we kind of have to talk about the person. Because we've already talked a little bit about Snead. When Watson pushed for him initially, we brought this up. At the time, he was dealing with a pending case. It was a assault battery charge as well. There was one other charge in there as well for a alleged drive-by shooting that had occurred in Texas where he was alleged to have been the driver of the vehicle. All charges against him have now been dropped, And at this point, like I told you guys then, now you can start to consider it. Now you can move to the football end of the conversation because before it was kind of a non-starter for me. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I don't want players with those kind of ongoing situations joining the Rams. That is an absolutely ridiculous thing to get yourself involved in before you can find clarity on it, especially when it was just a matter of time for clarity to come about in one way or another on this situation. And now that it has, we can look at L'Jarius as a football player. And at this point, I think it's tough, right? Because Snead has been so good in his career, but he is not that guy anymore. Last season in 2025, when he was on the field for the Tennessee Titans, he was kind of an unmitigated disaster, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. 13 for 21 in coverage. That was completions and attempts allowed. 224 yards allowed into his coverage. He allowed 3 touchdowns. Did have a couple pass breakups, but a quarterback rating allowed of 137.7. That is out of 158.3. That is like allowing quarterbacks to score a 90% on the test. If the test was L'Jarius Snead, everybody is acing it. And that's not great news at the end of the day. You go the last 4 seasons, obviously, the production in Kansas City during the time in which Watson and McDuffie were teammates with him, and he was playing with one of the better defensive coordinators in football, Steve Spagnuolo, he's great. Absolutely great. And health factored into this conversation as well, but you see immediately in Tennessee things fall off a cliff. And the red flags are still there, even with the legal ones gone. This guy has serious injury concerns. He has missed all but 12 games during his time with Tennessee. That's a huge part of why he fell off a cliff. And as we've discussed, he fell off a cliff. 36.4 passer rate, or 36.4 PFF grade in 2024, and a 50.3 in 2025. But at the end of the day, I would still maybe bring him in. Like, it depends on the deal, though, right? And again, I know I just kind of talked down on him for like a solid 2 minutes there. So you might be going, Jackson, what the hell? Like, why would we sign this guy if he's not good? Because our depth is not good, guys. At the end of the day, like, do I want him starting for this team? No. Do I trust him more than Cam Lampkin? Yes. At the end of the day, that's kind of the reality of this situation. There just are not a ton of good corner options left on the market. And if L'Jarius Snead is seriously interested in trying to jumpstart his career with his old buddies Trent and Jaylen and going after another ring so they could take another really cool photo in the locker room at the end of the season, I'm kind of down. If he wants to do it for a veteran minimum deal, for a very cheap contract, we just need more bodies, guys. We need more healthy dudes in the locker room at corner, on the depth chart at corner. Guys you can trust to get out there, because if injuries come up in that room, which we know that they can, we had to deal with that last year. Think about the cliff this defense fell off last season when Quentin Lake was not on the field. Everybody remembers that. We talked about that very early on for our super, super OG real ones. When you were watching our very early videos, how excited we were to get Quentin Lake back for the playoff game against Carolina because of how different our defense was with him on the field. I think if you have injuries, even though we've made significant improvements this year, the depth isn't there anymore. Kobe Durant and Ahkello Witherspoon exiting this offseason kind of killed your depth. At the end of the day, you've got great top end now, which you didn't have last season, but your depth just isn't there, which, hey, it wasn't really there last season either. So it's a little bit of a flip-flop of situations at the end of the day. But I think L'Jarius Snead, again, for a veteran minimum deal, is a chance worth taking. Because if this guy is fully healthy and by some miracle regains a little bit of the form we saw in Kansas City, it would be the signing of the offseason. If you could get the guy that they had, that Tennessee thought they were getting, when they made a trade and gave him a big contract, that whole disaster of a deal for the Titans, if you could get that guy, my goodness, I would be thrilled about adding a piece like that to this defense. And of course, the odds of him regaining that form are very low. I'm not trying to lie to you guys and say that, like, hey, if you sign L'Jarius Snead, he's going to instantly re-become the corner he was in Kansas City just because he's playing with his old buddies again. That's not realistic. But it is within the realm of possibility that even if he doesn't regain all pro level form, he is a serviceable starter and an upgrade over your current depth for a very cheap contract because he needs an opportunity right now. And as you can tell, they're not exactly screaming out to him. Even with the charges cleared, he still remains unsigned. So are you in or are you out? With all the factors considered, I need to hear from the Ramily on this one. Let me know in the comments, guys. Are we team sign on this one? Do we want to bring L'Jarius Sneed into Los Angeles? Are we team pass? Give me a sign in the comments if you want to sign L'Jarius Sneed. Give me a pass in the comments if you are out. At the end of the day, I'm team sign if it's on a vet minimum deal. That's the context for team sign. You're all at vet minimum contracts. That's what we are going for. So let me know, L'Jarius Sneed on a vet minimum, or are we passing? And we'll see you in the next one. As always, let's go Rams.